Smith was a guy, when I got cut, he made the team on the varsity team. But he started the whole process with me because when he made the team and I didn't, I wanted to prove not just to Leroy Smith, not just to myself, but to the coach who actually picked Leroy over me.
Michael Jordan was not just a basketball player, he was an empire, he was a brand, he was a myth that millions of people built their entire childhoods around. And for decades, nobody came close to touching what he had built. Six championships, six finals MVPs, a sneaker line that still dominates the market of this day. A name that meant more than just basketball, it meant greatness itself. So when the world started talking about a teenager from Akron, Ohio, calling him the chosen one before he even stepped on foot an NBA court, Michael Jordan was not clapping from the sidelines. He was watching and he was not happy about it. It was 2002, and a high school kid named LeBron James had stepped appeared on the cover of Sports Illustrated. The headline called him the chosen one. He had not played a single NBA minute. He had not won anything. He had not proven anything at the highest level. But the media was already treating him like the next Michael Jordan. Maybe even someone who could surpass him, and to a man like Jordan, who spent his entire career fighting for every single thing he earned. That was not a compliment to LeBron, that was a direct shot at him. That was the world trying to rewrite history before the ink had even dried. You have to understand who Michael Jordan really was to understand why this bothered him so deeply. Jordan did not come into the league as the golden child. He got cut from the high school varsity team as a sophomore. He had to fight for playing time at North Carolina. When the 1984 NBA draft came around, he was not even the first pick. He went third behind Hakeem Olajuwon and Sam Bowie. His entire story was built on doubt, on being overlooked, on proving every single person wrong, whoever doubted him. That struggle was not just a part of his story, it was the foundation of his identity. And now the world was handing LeBron James everything he had bled for, before LeBron had bled for a single thing. Now, here is where the things started to get really interesting because the tension between Jordan and LeBron was never just about one magazine cover or one headline. It ran much deeper than that. And to truly understand it, you have to look at the man Jordan chose instead, the man he actually opened his door for, the man he called his little brother. Because while LeBron was being crowned by the media, there was another player quietly earning something far more valuable than any magazine cover. He was earning Michael Jordan's respect, and that player was Kobe Bryant. Kobe and Jordan were wired almost identically. They both had the cold, ruthless, win at all cost mentality that made teammates uncomfortable and opponents terrified. Cole was not trying to be liked, he was trying to be feared. And when Jordan looked at Kobe, he did not just see a great player, he saw himself. He saw the same obsession, the same hunger, the same refusal to ever be comfortable. Kobe actually called Jordan in the middle of the night regularly, asking about the footwork, counters, and the mental toughness. He copied the fade away. He studied the mannerism. He built his entire game around the Jordan's blueprint, and Jordan loved every bit of that. He loved the Cobb came to him, that Cobb treated him like the standard word chasing. LeBron never chased Jordan's approval in the same way. He grew up idolizing MJ absolutely. Jordan posters were on his wall as a kid, but LeBron wanted to be the LeBron James, not the next Michael Jordan. He was building his own identity, his own brand, his own way of leading, and while that was completely valid, it meant the bond never formed. There were no midnight phone calls, there was no mentorship, just a distant kid of respect that never turned into anything real. And then in 2020, Kobe Bryant died, and the world saw exactly how deep that bond truly was. At the memorial, Jordan stood up and broke down crying in front of thousand people. He called Kobe his little brother. That was not a performance. That was 20 years of phone calls and sheer obsession. LeBron never had that with Jordan, not even close. And in NBA culture, that silence, that absence of a blessing, said more than any words ever could. Now, this is where the story takes a turn that nobody saw coming, because up until this point, you could argue that Jordan's distance from LeBron was about play style, personality, and mentorship. You could say it was a simply two different kinds of greatness that has never found common ground. But then a clip of surfaced, a clip where Michael Jordan said something that stopped the entire basketball world on its tracks. And once you hear it, you cannot unhear it, because Jordan did not just talk about basketball, he brought up something that had nothing to do with the court at all. He brought up Didi. Jordan was here saying that LeBron always moved range, that he never carried himself the way Kobe did. And then he said something that made everyone's jaw drop. He said that when the Didi stuff came out, he knew he had been right all along. That is why he chose to mentor Kobe and not LeBron. Now think about what that means coming from Michael Jordan. This was not some random person on the internet throwing out rumors. This was the greatest basketball player who ever lived, someone who spent his entire career being calculated and precise with every single word he said publicly, and he was connecting LeBron's name to one of the biggest scandals in the entertainment history. For context, Didi had been at the center of the massive legal storm for years. In 2025, he was convicted on two counts following years of serious allegations from multiple people, including his former partner Cassie Ventura, who accused him of a long pattern of abuse and coercion. There were lawsuits. There were disturbing details that came out slowly over time, and the world started looking back at every single person who had ever been casually connected to this circle. That is when an old clip of LeBron resurfaced. It was an Instagram live moment when LeBron laughed and said, "Ain't no party like Diddy party." It was casual, it was probably just a joke in the moment, but given everything that came out about Diddy, that clip suddenly looked very different. And when Jordan referenced the Diddy situation while talking about LeBron, the internet exploded. Fans started connecting dots. People who had defended LeBron for years suddenly went quiet. Because there is a huge difference between a random person making accusation and the GOAT himself saying he saw something in LeBron's character that never sat right with him. Jordan had spent decades saying nothing dramatic about LeBron publicly. He kept it cold and distant. But this time he said something specific, and that specifically hit different. It made people go back and look at everything with fresh eyes. And this is where everything comes full circle, because the story was never really about two basketball players who did not get along. It was about a king who built a throne and refused to let anyone sit on it without his permission. It was about legacy, control, and the one thing Jordan valued more than any championship ring: the right to decide who came after him. In NBA culture, when a legend passes the torch to you, it changes everything. Kareem, mentor Shaq, Bill Russell showed up to the final games just to embrace the next generation. And Kobe got exactly that from Jordan. The mentorship, the phone calls, the public parades, and tears at a memorial the whole world watched. The endorsement made Kobe untouchable in the GOAT conversation for millions of fans. LeBron never got any of it, not a single piece. And yet, here is the twist that makes this whole story so fascinating. LeBron kept going anyway. 4 championships, the all-time scoring record, still competing at the age of 40 when most players had been retired for a decade. He built a legacy so massive that even Jordan's silence could not stop it. And that right there was Jordan's worst nightmare becoming reality. Someone talking the throne without his blessing, without his approval, without ever needing his validation. LeBron did not just survive Jordan's cold shoulder, he thrived in spite of it. And now the GOAT debate is more alive than ever. Not because Jordan endorsed LeBron, but precisely because he never did. That silence became the fuel, that distance became the drama, and that drama became the greatest debate in the sports history that absolutely refuses to die.